Hi there,
Hey!
and welcome to Living Out Loud with Laura and Vicki. Holy shit, I can't believe they let us on the internet.
Woo! That's scary, isn't it? They're allowing us to do this unsupervised.
So we're like all over the place. So if you're watching this, welcome to episode one, season one of our live stream. Um, I'm Vicki. I'm the co-host. I try to make all the technical stuff happen. How are you feeling tonight, Laura?
I am feeling okay. I got a nap in, so I am well rested. I got my feet up and I have my cat that likes to check in with me here. So if she gets a little too close, we'll know that I'm not feeling well. But we'll watch.
We'll watch. Yeah. And what are we drinking tonight? I've got the pineapple wine.
So I like to drink a nice crisp ginger ale. It's a spicy ginger ale, cute ginger ale. It's lovely.
Excellent. Excellent. So I've been looking forward to doing this ever since we decided to do it, and it's been kind of crazy. This is a big leap.
It's a journey.
It's not going to come off perfect, so please hang in there while we discover the show along with you for the ride. Tonight we have no guests. Normally we will. We do have a feature I'm a little uncomfortable with because it's kind of like all about me. So I'm going to forego my intro here. Normally I just talk a little bit about myself. Because in a little while it's going to feel like I'm fucking moving in and living on your couch. I'm to everybody at home.
We're going to have a therapy session in just a little bit where we're going to get to know and unpack Vicki.
Yes, and you'll want to pack Vicki right the fuck back up.
I wanted to move Vicki in with me, so I agree. I wanted to pack you up and move you in.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy how much you know me. You're gonna be like, I don't really want to know that bitch that like that. My co-host, however, is amazing. It feels like we've been friends forever, and I hope we always will be. I kind of know we always will be. We're gonna dive into her life a lot because she does a lot in future episodes. But I'm gonna let her introduce herself and her podcast that started this little adventure.
Hi, I am Laura with Living Out Loud with Laura. I am the mom of 2 adult LGBTQIA children who I love dearly. I started a podcast to bring understanding and education to the LGBTQIA community and also for parents so that they can understand and realize that they are not alone, as I have a transgendered child. My daughter is transgender. So that is what started me on this journey. And thank you for having me. I also have chronic health issues that we work through and everything. So, that's just part of the fun and the joy of this. You never know what happens. I might be up, I might be down, I might be on the ground. Who knows?
Yeah, and some weeks I will be driving, and if Laura can be on camera, she'll be on camera. If not, we'll see the little ghosty talking ghosty thing. It's fine. Because it's just fun, and
it's real life.
It's real life.
It's live.
And confession time. Honestly, everything Laura does to provide hope and fight for the LGBTQIA plus community, she's incredible, and the guests she finds are incredible, and how she brings their stories out with love and compassion is amazing. But I'm doing this show for very selfish reasons because she's so busy doing all of the stuff that she does all over the place that this makes sure I can get an hour of her time every week. And we can talk shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can girl dish.
Yeah, we girl dish, and she's crazy beautiful on the inside and outside. One of my core friends that makes me laugh, and we really need that right now. The laugh, like we've been getting ready for the show, and buckle up. I'm gonna have to have a seatbelt installed on my game chair because it's just like, yeah. So every week we'll try to have a core topic for discussion. We're going to have a regular set of close friends and family and members of the strong and resilient LGBTQIA plus community here to engage in the conversation. And it's going to be a free-for-all. We're not going to say, don't chime in, and we're not going to censor stuff. We are adults. We know we can agree to disagree, and we know our friends agree with that. And so, yeah, we're going to get real. And tonight we're going to get really real.
Yeah, and it's really important because stories matter. And the whole idea is that we are talking from our souls and we are sharing a piece of us with you so that we are bringing visibility to the fact that this is what the mother of a transgender child looks like. This might be what a transgender woman looks like. You just never know. We are just people living our lives trying to have the best time.
We are, and that's really what it's about. It's about we're friends. We also had something else in common. We both were converts. We saw the light. We came from very different backgrounds than where we've ended up. And that's fine. Once it's like being transgender. We'll talk about it. Once you hatch, you can't go back. And once you see, once
I
you see,
saw the light. I saw the light.
yeah, once you see that things aren't right, and you can't support that anymore. You just can't do that anymore. Um, yeah. So if you're a member of our social media community, and we do have a website, it's livingoutloud.com live. You can sign up for all of our social media there. We have a newsletter there. Be sure you get connected because we may just out of the blue say, hey, you want to be on the show and pull you on. And it's where you're going to find all of our pictures and profiles and occasional pictures of Laura hugging bears. So pictures and profiles and bears. Oh my, right?
There's nothing better than bears.
Yeah. Yeah. And our website is easy to remember, livingoutloud.com live. And for some reason, it's fucking impossible to type in. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those things that you'll trip over it 16 times. You'll end up at some Albanian airline or some shit like that for a while, and then eventually you find us. But we are there. Is that good for housekeeping?
I think so. I think we can housekeep on that one right now and just kind of like move on. We can sweep that under the rug and be like, okay, we're tidy. Now our friends are here.
All right. So let's kick off segment number 1. Okay, so seriously, this is because it's our first show. This is about us, and this is a friendship pledge. I will be here to do this show with you for as long as we can, or until equality and acceptance happen for all, and unless it threatens our friendship, because that means the fucking world to me. So, cheers.
Cheers. I am here with you to bring visibility to the world about all the issues, because there's a lot of issues out there. And quite honestly, I have a lot of opinions, so we can talk about them all.
Yeah, and for those of you playing along at home, raise up something. We don't want to know what. Please don't tell us in the comments.
Especially if you're a cis guy, because we know what you're raising.
Yeah, and just promise to watch the show every Wednesday night, or if on convenient replay. Promise to subscribe to all of our social media, because that helps, so you can keep informed, and promise to engage in the show. And more than that, promise to laugh a little bit this week, even if it's not any of the crazy stuff that we're going to do tonight, because it's important right now. And more than anything, I think that's when I started coming alive with everything that's going on and the journey that I'm on. So welcome to the Resistance. We have a lot to do with love and light, and we're going to do that. So
yes, we are. We're going to live out loud. So you got to LOL all the time. You remember, you don't only get to laugh out loud, but you get to live out loud. And that's what we're going to teach you. We're going to teach you how to live out loud.
Yep. And now we're going to go on to the main feature. Holy shit, buckle up. Nope. Not doing that yet. Seriously. That was a little much. Yeah, but I will add this to the stream. There we go. Look at that.
Vicki.
Right? This is all about me, because I wanted a giant picture of my head right next to me while I'm talking. Welcome to your guide to my gender dysphoria, with me and Laura. Again, my friend Laura is going to add color commentary. She's got a lot of shit to say. She knows this subject very well. In future episodes, I promise we're not going to be focusing on me so much, but I believe in addressing the elephant in the room. when there is one, and in this case, it's a large woman with purple hair clogging up your social media stream. So, there's some things you need to know about me before we dive too deep. I was the subject of Laura's episode number 12, Living Out Loud podcast, and that was over an hour of talking to Laura, and I hijacked her podcast because I had a lot to say, and we became fast friends.
Very fast
and
friends.
and it's that is kind of this is the outpouring of that, because it's like we didn't have enough time to say all the shit we wanted to say. So here you go. Now you're stuck with us every week, because we will find a way to make sure that your browser just navigates. I'm working on that now. And I'm old. I'm not saying how old, but my wrinkles have wrinkles. I'm 7 months into transition on hormone replacement therapy. So yes, I am becoming as close to a woman as I can get late in life by living full-time as who I am, using hormones and eventually surgeries. Yeah. Despite what you might think, I'm not doing this so that I'm passable. Meaning, I'm not out to fool you as a woman. If you see me as a woman, great. If you see me as a trans woman, identify me, great. If I never even draw your attention, what the hell? Am I not pretty? I don't get that.
I feel pretty. Oh, so
Right?
pretty.
Right? It just, have some sort of opinion, right? No, but at this point in my life, I am as normal and well-adjusted a person as I can be. You don't have to take my word for it. My doctors and therapists agree. I've been in therapy for 9 years to get here. And I hatched 9 years ago. Ooh, look, baby chick, right? I know that's a lot of terminology around transgender. There's a lot of words you got to learn. It's kind of a bitch. But in this case, hatched is a very good term because it kind of describes the process. It's Laura, do you want to tackle that one?
Well, hatched is, if I am understanding it correctly, is when basically your body and your mind kind of get in line where you realize, oh my, this is what it is. I am transgender. That is when you have that lightning strike, so to be.
Right. Hatched is hatched. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. And you can't put the chick back in the shell and glue it together. It doesn't work. But I did, for the first 5 years, try to not be trans. I went to the church. I went to therapists. I said, make this go away. So it was a lot of therapy to come to embrace who I am and who I always was. Vicki, or Victoria, is the name I've identified with since childhood. And we'll come back to that later because it's really, really very significant. And I've got something to talk about that. But it took a lot of hard work and a lot of digging to even accept myself. So I understand that it takes people sometimes a little while to accept this too and understand it. And that's why we're going to deal with it tonight.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is really important is what you just said, is it takes a long time. And there's a big misconception out there, I think, that people just one day wake up and they're like, hey, I'm transgender. And then the next day you are just full on out there with the pink, blue, white all over, screaming from the rooftops. And it takes a lot of medical professionals and a lot of education and self-reflection to actually be able to say I'm transgender.
Or in my case, I hatched, and the next day I was up on the rooftop with a lot of pink, blue, and white going, here I am, bitches. No. And we can talk about my transition because that's actually a fun story too. Yeah. And you're going to meet my best friend from work who's also named Vicki. And Laura's met her, and you even if you blasted us with 1 million comments, you won't get a freaking comment in edgewise when the three of us get together, because it's nonstop. And she'll be here soon. She wants to be on the show. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on the show. I think what's most critical to know is that nobody who's transgender chooses transgender. Let me say that again. No one who is transgender actually chooses to be transgender. Despite what the media tells you, it's something we struggle with internally very often our entire life. We can transition or not. It seldom, if ever, just goes away. The people that detransition, you have to wonder if they were ever really, truly trans to begin with, if they got the help they needed. Like I said, before this happened, it was a lot of years of living in a closet and trying to figure out what's what. But at the end of the day, after digging in the dirt for all that time, I think most of us, like me, myself, it was who I was from a very young age, and some of my earliest memories are feeling this way and feeling like I am now. There's some hard statistics. Many, and I mean almost half, don't make it and take their own life. I have fought really hard not to be one of those statistics, and I was really, really close, honestly. And we'll talk about that too. It's not fun stuff. It's not going to make you laugh, but it is part of the journey, right? It's even worse for trans kids. I know that's a hot button topic. I brought it up just to let you know we're going to deal with it a lot on future episodes because this is a critical one for both Laura and I. This is something that I know she's chomping at the bit to dig into. But this is kind of the flyover of transgender from the adult perspective. So I'm going to table that. I don't want to, but we're going to. So the odds aren't very good for survival, especially if we stay in the closet, and transitioning brings a whole world of problems. Particularly relationships are very hard. Lack of support and acceptance. We lose a lot of family and friends. And then you can add the much greater odds for violence, unprovoked violence against us. Yeah, this is not something somebody chooses. I didn't wake up and go, wow, you know what? I can really, really just screw up my life really to the extreme if I do this thing. It's something you have to come to grips with and deal with. Now, to clarify, this is not transgender. It's often mistaken for transgender. This is actually a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. And it's more actually, again, transvestite than transsexual Transylvania. This is primarily a sexual thrill some people get from wearing clothing that would normally be taboo for them to wear, or they do it to, just kind of step into other people's shoes a little bit. Ladies, if putting a pair of panties on your guy, no judgment. That's probably, and it gets him off fast, and he's really likes that. That's probably a little transvestite. That's a little curiosity kink you're playing with. Now, if you put them on and he wonders if his ass looks good in them, and he wants to wear them full time, and he claims it just feels more natural, that's probably leaning more towards transgender, and you're going to want to be having some deeper conversations, right? And as much as I love Tim Curry and Rocky Horror Picture Show, this isn't gender dysphoria. We're going to talk about what gender dysphoria is. It's not about sexual kinks, and I need to clarify that because a lot of people just assume that it's just guys that want to put on dresses. No, that's not it at all.
Nope.
Now, this is more of a look into my reality. This is more about brain structures, brain development, active brain centers during mental activities. To everyone who says that transgender can't be proven or is insanity, take a good look at this. These are the brain scans of normal cisgender people compared with the scans of transgender people. And more accurately and to the point, these are scans of kids' brains. So it's there from the beginning. There have been multiple studies, and in almost every case, like in the 90+ percentile, the brain structures and processing centers and the things that light up during certain tasks for transgender people almost completely align with the cisgender people for the gender that they identify with. And I know that was a shit ton to say in one sentence, so let me simplify it for you. My brain is structured like someone who is born with female reproductive parts, and transgender men, they have brains that look more like people that were born with shit dangling between their legs. Simple.
I like that.
Right? And I understand cisgender is triggering for some people, makes people a little cray-cray. It's not an insult, is it, Laura?
No, it just means you identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth. That's all it means.
Yeah, it's Latin for on this side,
it's like being mad that somebody's telling you you're male if you're a born male. Oh, don't tell me that. You guys got to which way do you want it? Pick one. Right.
Look, if you are born with and you're happy with what's between your legs and it matches who you are up here. Congratulations. You don't struggle with gender dysphoria. Um, there's not a prize for it. You just don't have to deal with any of the shit I have to deal with. So,
You
um,
can get a participation medal if it makes you happy. I mean, I can make you one that says, "I won not having gender dysphoria."
LOL, not dysphoric. We'll cheer for you. We'll have like a day.
Yeah, we can have a day for you if that makes you happy.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but just take one more good look at these brain scans because it's really significant. I mean, they're almost identical, and you're seeing the control girls all the way over to the gender dysphoria girls and the control boys with the control boy brains. This is the truth. This is the identity side of things. So if somebody tells you that there's no proof, well, yeah, there is. And sometimes we think we have things all figured out, and we actually have it wrong. If you actually believe that God created everything, and I do, I am actually have a very strong faith. But do you honestly think that God left the blueprints to create the most complex organ in your body, your brain, in only 2 chromosomes? Um, I know I'm not a scientist. I'm going to try and simplify it. I'm going to try to give you what I know because I've watched a lot of it. I learned a lot of it in 9 years. You try to figure out what the hell's going on, and you learn a lot about yourself. There's some very cool science that I think highlights how incredible the human design actually was. Right. So, quick side trip. Um, the people that argue there's only binary male and female genders, there's actually regularly 6 variations that happen a lot. There's X alone. There's X X X Y X X Y X Y Y and X X X Y. So binary is really off the table to begin with, and none of that really defines any of this. It has something to do with kind of the parts and where you are, but here's what's interesting. The fact is that between those X and Y chromosomes, there are 955 genes, which is actually pretty spectacular. It's like God used storage compression because those 955 genes effectively determine what's going to be between your legs and pass on some of the genetic traits from your dad, because your mom carries most of the genetic code already, and that's kind of the miracle of life. And roughly 10% of the time, we get intersex, which means they have combination of both parts. And so those variations happen a little bit more than people think, right? That's a big deal too. Now, 955 genes for the X and Y chromosomes out of an estimated 100,000 that make us human beings. The DNA sequences are so complex that we've only mapped out the function of about 6,000 of those. And they estimate that the blueprints for the brain take up more than 1/3 of the genetic sequences. So that's 33,333 if you go with the bare minimum that deal with who you are and how you think, versus 955 which determine whether you pee standing up or sitting down. And if you're going to lose hair like your dad or your grandpa.
Male pattern baldness.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's kind of a miracle, actually. And yeah, 955 to determine if you're at birth a pitcher or a catcher or some sort of utility infielder, right? We really are snowflakes, as one of a kind as we can be. I mean, what do you think, Laura?
I definitely agree. I agree very, very much. And I want to remind everybody that when the cells of the fetus are in the womb or in the uterus, that it isn't till 13, 14, 15 weeks that even the sex organs are even identifiable. Up until that time, we always just have a baby, a they, them, and it's okay. And they're actually finding that different factors that are going on can actually affect the hormones that the mom is producing, can affect how the the hormones of the baby within utero, how it can kind of be put together as well. So you could have a fetus that could be for a while on its path and journey to being born male. However, because of maybe some hormone changes, it can change that structure. And that is where they're believing that maybe the intersex might come in, where the hormone shift that the woman, the mom, is going through is actually changing some of that. So I like to talk about some of the medical
Yeah,
components of it.
yeah. Laura has a very strong medical background, so it's you're talking to somebody who knows and can explain better than I can. And but I do know, like, there are some um, studies that were talking about genetic components to transgender. Like they've identified some genes that look like traits that
Yes.
people who are transgender do pass on. So there's a lot of factors. We know there's a lot of factors.
And
But
I want to point that out, just because the science 10 years ago didn't point to that. Um, just to bridge the gap for people, the BRCA2 gene, right? My doctor that I see for that, any testing that people had 5 years ago, that's antiquated testing. You would need to get retested because we've come further in our science and our abilities.
yeah, yeah. But I actually wasn't talking about the genetics. I was going to ask you about this guy. I mean, I think he's pulling off the tutu, but the shorts are a little wrinkly and much, I think. Right?
I like the skate and I like the shoe. So I
Yeah.
noticed that he's wearing a roller skate. You got everything going on there,
This this is this
and
is
bubble
definitely
wrap.
non-binary. This is spectrum. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Unique, designed, complex, like fingerprints. And again, my understanding is very high level. I'm not a scientist, but I've seen stuff from scientists on the web that goes way deeper. And the thing to take away is that the non-binary thing is really flattened, or the binary thing is really flattened. The idea that it's just male or female and that everything else is a mistake. No, there's too many. There's too many. And again, you're talking about a God that you believe is all powerful in this world. There wouldn't be those kinds of mistakes. There wouldn't be that kind of design. He wouldn't have made us snowflakes like that, where we are so genuinely unique. Yeah, we know there's separate genes that actually control how your brain is built, and then combine with the testosterone or the estrogen during pregnancy and at puberty to fill you out according to the design. In my case, I got a boy's reproductive junk at birth with a babe brain. And
I like that.
literally, I can trace those feelings back as far as I can remember. Victoria is always who I was. Um, so, with all the tremendous personal and external challenges that come with a transgender life, this is not something anyone would pick for themselves. I'm stressing that again. It's also not something anyone would pick for and try to force on their children. So if you're picking on parents who are just trying to keep their kids from killing themselves, you are really just being horribly cruel. And Laura just was involved in a big CNN story that got a lot of attention, not just for the fact that it was about a family fleeing. And Laura, you can tell it better than I can.
Yeah. So I have friends in the state of Florida that are actually having to choose, and it's not a option for them. For the health and safety of their child, they're having to choose to leave Florida and go to another state where they are going to have a more affirming environment where their child can get health care. It's very, very difficult. So we're struggling completely with keeping our children happy, healthy, and alive, and trying to get them medical care. And the things that are said about us, um, it's very hurtful. That's all I have to say. When all you want to do is not have to visit your child's grave to be told that you're a pedophile is very confusing.
Yeah, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Because I can promise you, I never molested my child. Never
And
once did I lay a finger on my child's genitalia in a way that anybody should ever call me a pedophile.
right. And I want to take this from the perspective of this is being done a lot in the name of religion. Um, and we will try not to be overly religious. I have my faith; it's very strong. Um, if you believe in Christianity, then the goal is really that every day God is making you more in the image of Christ. And I never saw Christ, uh, commenting on people's pain in a positive way. I only saw Christ trying to heal people. I never saw Christ condemning sinners. He didn't like the Pharisees. He didn't like the self-righteous, and he didn't like the people that were making money off the poor in his Father's temple. Those are the two times we know that Christ was upset. But other than that, um, he knew that he was here to bring restoration, salvation, forgiveness, and grace and mercy. So I would ask that if you really believe that all of the hate that you're putting out and all of the harm that you're causing to these families is making you more like Christ, then you really do need to get a little bit, probably more back into that Bible. Just saying.
And if you're clergy, if you are going to a place of worship and you have somebody there professing that you should not love another human being with a beating heart because of them having a health condition that requires medical treatment, you might want to rethink about if you're really with the people that you think you're with. That's all I have to say.
Right.
I am not as good and big on religion as my beautiful friend Vicki.
Yeah. And a lot of churches will say we love the sinner, hate the sin. You okay. Let's consider that again. It's way not easy being trans, both in our heads and with the way the world treats us. We didn't choose this life or this conflict. We can't turn it off. It's not like I'm going to be trans today and not trans tomorrow. It's not like somebody is going to be gay today and not gay tomorrow. These, and that's, one is sexuality, one is gender identity. They're very different. But if you're going to find a church that really is accepting, make sure that they're not just saying, "Oh, you're welcome," but you can't be practicing what you are, because that's
If
just
you're
as
only
bad.
welcome to play by the rules, you're not welcomed.
Yeah, yeah. I believe I was simply created this way, and I know that sounds um, very contrite, but it took me a long time to get to that point, and I do have a story about that at the end too.
I don't
Um,
believe it's contrite. I have friends whose children transitioned at very young ages, and they have told me flat out that at 14, 15 months old, their children were telling them that they knew that they were born wrong. And I have no doubt in my mind that they are telling me anything different.
yeah.
It's
Did
not true.
you want me to bring up the brain scans again, because those were 9-year-olds.
9-year-olds.
Yeah, 9-year-olds. So kind of
Who has
fascinating.
no hormones, FYI. There's no
Yeah,
hormones. There are no, oh Lord, for the love of God, nobody's mutilating minors other than if you have intersex and the children are being, the sex is being chosen, or if you have a boy and you are going ahead and doing the, you know, snip, snip, and you're getting them circumcised, then you are doing some mutilation to some body parts. And I had mutilated my child prior. So I say that because they were, you know.
yeah. Mm, yeah. We, we've got a lot to unpack over the course of the show, and we're gonna have a lot of guests on. One of the people that I'd like to really get is a doctor that specializes in and has done transgender for a long time. My doctor from the Center for Living Well at Disney is marvelous, and he's done this for a long time. And he was more mad than I was about the state trying to be um, in the exam room with us. So I know that this is a lot of new information to some of you, and maybe the only ask that I can ask out of this is, for the time being, can we focus on the identity of what a person is rather than what's between their legs? Because what's between their legs is not helpful. It's really not. It's really not the story, and they're trying to make it all about that. That if you're born this way, that's what you have to be, and
See, and I don't understand that. I really am confused. We have a society that does cosmetic surgery at every drop of the hat. You can be lipoed, you can be sculpted, you can have your hair dyed, you can be microbladed, you can be tattooed, you can go have LASIK. I can take blood pressure medication, I can take SSRIs for depression. People are okay with shoving insulin into their body, Ozempic for weight loss or for diabetes. People seem perfectly fine with that. Now, I would like to know if I made every single diabetic in the country have to line up and go see 12 bajillion doctors and be told, well, you don't know how to eat right. That's your problem. Not that, your body isn't controlling itself. It's that you don't know what you're doing correctly. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm talking about what they make transgender people do to try to get health care. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, and you would have to sign a rider that would go on a list to the government that would say basically, oh, and high blood sugar may or may not harm you. We don't know. We haven't done enough studies. It may or may not destroy your organs. We
But
don't know.
wait, we've been giving hormone replacement therapy, which is estrogen, to women for years and years that have gone through menopause. By the way, it's the same exact hormone
Yeah,
that the women that are in menopause are getting.
right. And isn't that gender affirming treatment as well? Because the women that are going to the doctors for that after menopause or after a hysterectomy are saying, I don't feel like myself. There's things are wrong. Mood shifts, hot flashes. There's a million reasons
Yes.
why, but it's medically necessary there.
Yes.
And we'll talk about what happened to me when I started hormone replacement therapy because it's very different. And Laura didn't know me before that. So a lot of this information maybe kind of like sad, really. But there were indications that I was who I really was that had nothing to do with what happened inside my bedroom. And this was long before I was sexually active. This goes back as long as I can remember. I have always had more friends that were girls. And a lot of my long-term friends that I've come out to recently have been kind of forced to take this time travel journey back through all of their memories of all of our interactions. And they always kind of have this reaction. Yeah, that one right there. And hopefully they don't make that face because that's a horrible face. But yeah, it's kind of that, oh shit, why didn't I see that before kind of feeling, right? Yeah, hopefully not with the horrified expression. I haven't encountered that yet, but yeah, I promise. I'm going to explain what it's like to be transgender as best as I can before my medically and mentally supervised transition. So let's just get into it. I was almost constantly suicidal, and it got progressively worse the longer I tried to avoid who I really was. By the end, I was frequently drinking alone late at night, hoping that I would just pass out. And if I did manage to put myself to bed before I did that, I was praying that I wouldn't wake up in the morning. I was praying that God would just take me. I really wanted the pain to end, and I didn't want to take my own life because I didn't have a lot of faith that I would end up in a good place, because I do. I have always had faith in God. I couldn't look in the mirror without experiencing intense depression and emotional pain. I had to shave by Braille. And I won't. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but you will do whatever you can to avoid dealing with the reality of what is, because it's not. It doesn't feel right. It's wrong. It's constantly. It's kind of. I was playing at being a man that fit into the world, what the world expected me to be. And the longer I tried to avoid and make it easier on everyone around me by trying to ignore who I really was, the worse it got. And
Very
even if,
self-destructive behavior.
yeah, and even if you've never experienced what it's like not feeling right in your own skin, you can understand what it's like to feel fake. and I was fake all the time. That's gender dysphoria. So where am I now? For the last 7 months, I have formally been on hormone replacement therapy and estrogen based therapy and socially transitioning, living my life full time as a woman. It's kind of funny, they're pink and blue. You notice that? The pills for gender dysphoria are pink and blue.
Hmm.
The
Does it make you go, hmm?
and here's the odd part. The estrogen is blue, and the anti-testosterone, the testosterone blocker, is pink.
That's rather ironic.
It's rather ironic, and maybe somebody is colorblind at the drug facility. I don't know, but
Or
but
somebody has a really good sense of humor is all I'm
right,
gonna say.
right, and do you know what we call them? Because HRT, or hormone replacement theory, is therapy, is just kind of formal. You know what we call them? So one of my first transgender support groups, I met a girl named Amy who's become a good friend, and she said she called them her titty skittles.
Titty Skittles.
Titty skittles. And I found out there's a bunch of great names for them. There's Feminems,
Ooh, Feminems. I like that.
Mammary Mints, right? Right?
I love it. 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 I love it.
And they are a little minty, a little chalky and a little minty. And my favorite antibiotics. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Antibiotics. Antibiotics. Oh my Lord. I love a good pun.
So and in one of the meetings, because we have in the support groups transgender men and non-binary people as well in those groups, one of the transgender men asks, well, can we call them probiotics if they're testosterone? I said, yes, absolutely, that makes a lot of sense.
Probiotics. Bro.
Probiotics, yes.
Bro. I love it. Probiotics. Oh my gosh. You see, these are the best things. And it's the funnies that keep you going, because we have to have the funnies in it. You have to find the funnies in it.
Yeah. And the effect was immediate. The effect was so the day after I started, and I was on a microdose. I was on the smallest dose that could be taken. I woke up without a suicidal thought in my head, and I haven't had one since. Even though life has thrown some serious shit towards my family, we've had some loss, we've had some pretty horrible things, but it's because those female brain structures are finally getting the hormones that they need. They're finally connecting with the body that's changing, and my body is changing. We're going to talk about it. I'm literally going through second puberty. I'm going through female puberty in middle age. Complete with zits. Yes. And so what's interesting is that, yes, there are primary reproductive characteristics, sexual characteristics, and then there are secondaries. Can we describe that one, Laura? I'll defer to the nurse.
No.
Shit. All right. I won't go into too much graphic detail. All right. Oh, look. This is the first night we met.
It is. Sorry.
It is.
I'm just having a little brain fog moment. I apologize. So that's why I'm just like, no.
No, fuck it.
I got a little hot and I'm trying to cool down right this second, so I apologize.
You're on your own, Vicki. Just take it. All right. Yeah, this is the first night we met. It was at a Pride gala.
It was at a Spectrum Health Gala, yes.
Yes. So I won't go into too much graphic detail.
And actually, by the way, the family that is leaving Florida was at that gala also.
Yes.
That is actually
it's very sad.
He is who got me invited to the gala. So full circle, actually, that CNN interview is actually with how we met in person.
Yeah. And Vicki, the day before the event, messaged me because we were talking. And we had a mutual friend that was setting me up to be on her podcast. Yeah. So I mean,
yep. Very, very crazy how that worked. It was literally like everything in the world was trying to force you and I to be together. All these different people, everything that came together for us to meet the night before and us to meet in person, and everything was pretty phenomenal how the universe did that for us. You call it God.
Deirdre is kind of my trans mom. She helped me through all of my transition stuff at work and gave me a lot of confidence and was one of the first people to know about me and kind of take me by the hand and walk me through stuff. But
And she was part of my Metro 3.
yeah, yeah. So she's like, "There's somebody you got to know," and I'm like, "Okay." And she has a podcast. Okay, and you should be on it. Okay,
Okay.
because being honest, nobody wants to be like this out. I am like way out, like freaking way out.
Out.
Yeah. Most trans people just want to kind of quietly
Live their lives.
take my hormones, put on a dress, wait till shit changes, and try to re-enter society. Wait till the surgery comes along.
The gentlemen want the peach fuzz. They get very excited about the peach fuzz.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying desperately to get rid of that shit. It's hard. Yeah, but so without going into too much graphic detail, some things are growing, like my ass and boobs. Some are shrinking and have shrunk and almost totally disappeared. And I don't care very much at all, which is proof that I was never a man because that's a big deal.
You're not worried about taking it out and measuring it?
No, it works better now for what it actually was. You talk about it all the time, right? It's the same building blocks, whether it's an innie or an outie. It basically is and it works better now. We'll definitely have a discussion on a lot of things. Nothing is off the table. So put the topics.
Don't scare anybody too much right now.
Yeah, put the questions out. We will try to describe them in very, very medically correct and carefully considered words. Nah, no, fuck that. No.
No, we don't do that.
We promised real, right? We're gonna do real. Fat is moving all over the place. It migrates. Like one day I'm like big in some places and the next day I'm big in others. New things jiggle. My tastes have changed. And I said this. There was one time I ran into some ugly. A lady came up to me and said, "You'll never be a real woman, right?" And I said, "Yes, I totally get that. I have never been physically a girl. I wasn't raised as a girl. I've never had, the correct parts. It's not that I didn't want to. It's just I never had that opportunity. But I will tell you from my perspective why I will never be a woman. My ass is spreading and I've got cellulite on my thighs, and only a trans woman would be thrilled about that."
Yeah, I'm not so excited about my ass spreading or the cellulite on my thighs.
Oh yeah,
I promise you that.
Every day I'm going, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, my ass spreading is not anything I need.
Yeah, a lot of my tastes have changed, but not who I'm attracted to. I still am beyond attracted to my wife. She's still more beautiful than I have words for. She's the love of my life, and we're doing our best to navigate this because it's very difficult for her. I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about families affected by the whole rainbow community. I mean, it's we want to really lift up people that are and families that are accepting, encouraging, trying to deal with all of the ramifications that this comes from this community and this being queer, being different. It's not
the
easy.
Rainbow Mafia.
Yeah.
And the strength in numbers. And I'm going to tell you, it's not just strength in numbers for the members themselves of the Rainbow Mafia, but also for the friends and the families of the Rainbow Mafia. Right now, support groups are very important. So I'm just going to give Vicki a moment to get her feelings in check. So, but support groups are super, super important, and knowing that you're not alone. Because if you're listening to this because you yourself are wondering if you might be trans, if you're in the early process of being trans, if you're trying to understand what it's like to be trans, or if you're just a nosy bitch like we are, that's okay too. I'm a nubby bitch. It's all good. I like to be a voyeur, look into people's lives, see what's going on. You leave your windows open, I'm going to be looking in your windows.
Yeah.
It's just what it is, you know. That's
Er,
part of also knowing you're a woman. You're a nosy little bitch there, Miss Vicky.
earlier, Laura said, "Well, I don't want to be insensitive. There may be questions I don't ask you." And I'm like, "Fucking ask the questions. I'm an
Yeah,
open
like if you're
book."
ever around me, you know the problem is I'm a nurse, and sometimes my nursing hat just goes on, and I'll like hone in on things, and I'll like all of a sudden I drop into the medical, and I try so hard. The one thing I will not ask anybody is about any of the gender reassignment surgery, because I'm afraid that my nursiness is going to come off as not nursiness. And so I will anybody that is welcome to share. A matter of fact, I would love for people to share, but I will not like be like the nosy bitch on that one.
Oh, we'll talk about it because it's the thing about being transgender is it's their designer poussoirs, right?
Designer of the JJs.
But JJ's, yes. There's so many different options, and when
Do you want the convertible? Do you
yeah,
want the Maserati?
yeah,
It's
holy shit.
electric, boogie woogie.
Yeah, we should be able to install. I'm sure doctors at some point will install LED screens that will say, things like "Welcome aboard, must be this tall to ride."
Slippery when wet.
Slippery when wet, right? Yeah. Okay. And I love that my wife, your husband, we're all friends. We're all friends.
Yes.
And I think we're always going to be, because once people like enter your life, I'm like a clingy bitch. So you're stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that hemorrhoid. I don't go away. I'm just a pain in your ass.
Yeah. So while we're discussing my mental state, and while I'm thinking about sitting here taking this selfie, I want you to know, when I'm sitting here, I'm not thinking about how a woman react or do something, or would do something. That's acting. I'm not acting when I'm out. I'm not constantly thinking about what I'm wearing, though I love this dress. I love this dress. This is my little black dress.
Ooh, that is a sexy little black dress that gets you all feminine.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I also had to learn some things, like I can't bend over, and I had to keep my legs crossed. Those things I do have to think about. Those are getting more natural because yeah, those are learned things. Those aren't, your brain just goes, "Oh, keep your legs crossed, bitch." That's
You no longer feel the need to air out for all of society to see.
yeah. You're not just gonna go. Like what you see?
Hey, you wanna take a gander? I'll take a picture and send it to
Designer, I had it installed last week. It's really nice.
you. Mine is hydraulic. I snorted.
For our viewers at home, we're very sorry, but we're not sorry. This is just the shit we talk about, and we're inviting you along. No, but it's funny because you look at the smile in this picture. I had a cousin that I just came out to about a week and a half ago, and I sent her some pictures, and she's known me my whole life. She says the pictures that I sent her is probably the first time she's seen this smile on my face, and I think that's true.
You see, I had no idea because I met you with that smile on your face.
Yeah, you have always known me.
Literally.
You have always.
Bigger a picture of us like this.
Yeah,
Ah!
yeah. You've always known me as the boss bitch that I am now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm yeah. Let me show you something. Um, this picture. These are some of the friends that have known me the longest. We were all in California together just a couple weeks ago.
I
I
know
love.
one of them.
We won't say which one. Uh, I love these people more than I can say. Glenn and Kelly, Amy and Juan Carlos. You all kept me alive when I was in the closet more times than I can remember, with the fun and the laughter and just. Um, I love you all and Kelly. Thank you for being that sister in high school that I needed, and you drifted away for a while, and now you're the sister that I need now too, and I love you for that. Thank you. Um, yeah, Laura never knew me. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
That's me most of the time. They call it gender euphoria because you're actually fucking happy for a change. I'm not worried about is something going to slip? Am I doing something wrong? Am I, yeah, it's not the facade. Um, yeah. So, yep, there I am. Um, I have not been drunk once or even had the urge to drink more than one or two drinks in a week. This is the first drink I've had all week, and you notice I'm sipping it. Um, as I change more, my brain uh, doesn't feel the need for it. It doesn't. I'm not masking the pain or the anxiety with booze anymore. I love my life. As the more I change, the more my body changes, the more at home I'm feeling in my body. It is becoming parts are becoming very very woman, and I can look at myself in the mirror and see the reflection of a middle aged woman. I didn't want to look at a middle aged woman. That that kind of sucks, but it's better. It's better than the alternative, right? I don't hate myself anymore, even without makeup. That's huge. That's huge. And my friendships old, like the people in the picture, or like Laura and Vicki, are deeper and more core to who I am emotionally, heart wise, mentally. I'm more nurturing. I'm definitely more empathetic with others. I'm living honest, and that's a real source of joy in my life. Life makes sense and is more meaningful, more colorful, and more vivid. And I'm really, really, legitimately, openly, unashamedly happy. Right? Um, but
Well,
definitely
I'm
the
glad I get to know the happy Vicky.
yeah, yeah. Believe me, the happy Vicky is much better Vicky. The biggest deal is that the suicidal thoughts are gone. Like I said, a lot of us don't make it, and so when you're attacking a trans community, and this is what brings out a little bit of the activist in me. You're attacking a community where almost half of us don't make it anyways, and it's because of ourselves, because we can't deal with all of the pressures and all of the internal and external shit that's going on. Um, my friend, my therapist, Anne over at Spectrum Health. Um, I just finished up therapy. I'm kind of on maintenance. She wrote up my letter, and I still love her. She's a friend. I will go see her because I love talking to her. She told me that I'm well put together inside and out, which is one of the sweetest compliments that I think I've ever gotten. And yeah, I feel that way. Um, but maybe you still aren't convinced if you're watching this. I don't know how many people are watching. Maybe you're one of those people who just believes I should detransition and go back into the closet because your beliefs matter more than my truths. Okay. There you go. Wig is off. I'd take the makeup off, but it would take too long and be really fucking boring on the internet. And I'm not going to strip. That's a different type of show altogether.
We might get kicked off for that one.
I'm still Vicky. I'm
But
still Victoria. It's still nice to meet you. Um, it's not the clothes. I don't wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, I get to put on women's clothes." I look at the clothes in my closet and go, "Oh shit, I hope I still fit into that because I've been really shit on my diet this week." I don't do makeup to go, "Oh, I want to fool people and look more like a woman." It's I am trying to fight the effects of time and gravity and age and look as pretty as I can look. And it's a huge industry. I love makeup. I like the way I look in the morning. Do my makeup and I go, oh, there's Victoria. There I am. Um, so if you've never known a trans person before, now you do. Uh, if you still don't agree with anything that I've talked about, I'm sorry. It's your truth. This is my truth. You have your truth. My truth doesn't have to be yours, but yours is definitely not going to be mine. Um, I'm not your enemy. I don't hate you. You don't have to treat me kindly, but please, please respect my right to exist and to live my life as a better person. I'm not out to hurt you, your life, or your family. I'm still a citizen of the United States. I have the right to my life and the pursuit of my happiness in this world. I treasure my freedom and rights every ounce as much as you treasure yours. And deep down, if you're a decent person and you know that I'm not really a threat, can you honestly say that the laws and the ways we have been treated are just and fair? Um, my doctors, mental and medical, and I carefully considered my treatment for transition for a very long time. Uh, you don't belong in those doctors' decisions any more than I believe belong in the exam room when you're making choices about your health. It's just not true. And I'm putting everything out there. This is this is normally what a trans person would want to keep very private. Um, but I want to help others like me. I want to help people understand. Um, if you're watching, and if you continue to watch our show, I hope that I can actually convince you that I'm just a person trying to be kind, trying to be a good person. I go to church, I have faith, I have love, and I have a good life. And not interested or convinced, and you don't want to watch anymore, go in peace. We can agree to disagree. It's not going to end the world if we don't come to terms on what this is. If you can just take away that I'm not a monster and a threat to everything that you hold dear, your kids won't look at me and turn trans. Let's be honest. Your kids are probably in their fucking phones 90% of the time and won't even see me. I mean,
I guarantee if they're on TikTok, they've seen much more interesting things than Vicky. Sorry.
all right.
Sorry. I mean, I find you very interesting, Vicky, but you know what I mean.
I am the Ethel to Laura's Lucy. It really is true. We laugh and I am along for the ride wherever we go, whatever we're doing. We're gonna say it's all legal, right? Yeah. Um,
I did not threaten to cause any harm to any government official per my
nope.
husband's requests.
Right. We're not calling out hate. We want to make the changes in this world with love and light, and that's what the
You said something, Vicky, earlier. You said if people are watching, you're hoping, and yeah, I get all that, and I do. One of the things that I want, though, this is what I'd like for people to do instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm looking at Vicky. Can I accept Vicky as a person?" I don't want them to do that. I want them to look at Vicky and say, "Hey, what if I were Vicky? Hey,
yeah,
could that be me?"
or somebody you love. My parents were definitely shocked when I came out to them, and I'm sure they've gone through all of their memories and gone, okay, well, yeah, maybe that was this or that was that. Um, and we're not going to change your worldview if you don't want to change your worldview. You can hold on to it. We're not asking you to. Just please
We are not
respect ours.
asking you not to be a bigot. That's the one thing I want to make sure people understand, that of the rainbow mafia that I've met, that I've learned, that I've held in my heart, that is now my family. Um, every single one of the people that I've met is not saying to anybody, you do not have the right to be a bigot. No one's saying that. We're saying, and I'm learning to say with them, you have the right to your bigoted beliefs. That is perfectly fine and dandy. Let us just live in peace.
Yeah,
That
hold
is
on.
that is it. You are allowed to be a bigot. You are allowed to look at Vicki and you're allowed to say, I don't like Vicki. You're allowed to look at me and say, Laura's a bitch and baby Ruth is
She's
a,
not.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, I have a heartbeat. My daughter has a heartbeat. Vicky has a heartbeat. I really wish I could see people be a lot more compassionate just to humans than they are to earthworms. When I see signs of people wanting to save animals and don't shop, make sure you adopt. I'm so for all that. Don't get me wrong. My babies are rescues, but I just want to understand how an animal's soul has that you castrate by going in neutering it, or take all that stuff that we do to the animals. You don't mind if they're agender says whatever it is, you're just good. Can't we just love people the way that we love animals,
Yeah, yeah. And one last thing. I'm gonna
please?
close. I'm gonna close on one last thing. I promised I would talk about my name.
Oh.
Yeah, and the name is kind of important. Victoria Vicky has always been my name. I couldn't use it, but it was mine for as long as I can remember. In all my years of therapy, we never found out where it came from because um, we discovered a lot of stuff that was buried deep. None of it affected who I was or what I was. That's the stuff we had to get out of the way to go, no, this didn't cause you to be this. This is who you were. That took forever. There were no friends or family with that name until high school. Hi, Kelly's mom. Thank you for always being so kind to me. But Victoria, Vicky was always with me. So when I finally got over the idea that being trans was going to go away, I still had years that I was living in the closet. And like I said, I was praying for death a lot. This dysphoria was getting worse and worse and worse. And I also struggled with and prayed for God to love and accept me as a daughter, because the church had told me that this is not right. That I went to the church and met with one of the senior pastors, and I'd been working there as a member of the church, helping out, very active. And one of the senior pastors says, well, I don't think you should be helping out anymore, and I don't think you should come back until this is gone. And didn't even pray with me. Grace and mercy and compassion, right?
I was raised being told that suicide is the biggest mortal sin. So
Yeah, that's how bad it is. That is my belief. So it was so
so
bad that I would sit in my room with a noose and a ladder and contemplate what was worse. What was worse? And I'm sorry if you think that's ridiculous. I'm sorry if you're one of those haters that goes, haha, wonderful. Why didn't you just do that? Um, I have a family. I have people that love me. I have people that need me. And I have people that I want to be here for. And now I have a life that is fucking amazing. And you'll never understand that. I have friends. I have love. I have self-love. Yeah. But it took another good friend, a brother from high school who's a pastor back in California, counseling me. It took me a long time to believe that God does love me as much as I love him, and he made me this way, and I'm exactly what he wanted me to be at the time that I'm supposed to be here. But I still hoped for an answer to that prayer of would he accept me as his daughter. So funny thing, in all the years of Victoria being with me as my name, I never knew what it meant. And a couple of months ago, a friend on Facebook had one of those Facebook games, see how popular your name is, that
yeah.
the shit we know not to click on because
Yeah.
they ask for the sign your life away except you're sharing your privacy stuff of doom, right? That button that you're like, oh shit. I never clicked those things. I worked for several online companies. I know never to do that. I don't know why. This one actually intrigued me. So for whatever reason, I clicked through the consequence button of doom to allow access to my profile, and it came up, and the first thing it says is Victoria is very popular in the United States and England. Yeah, no shit, right? No shit. But then I saw below it what Victoria means. It means daughter of heaven.
Aww.
And I fell to my knees in prayer because my loving God planted a name in me when I was a small child so that it could be a miracle to me now in my transition. And I think we're going to leave it there.
I think that is the most beautiful place to leave it for this evening.
That's our show. Usually we'll have a video with all of our social media stuff. You can find it all on livingoutloudlive.com, that website that will take you 20 times to type in. If you want to know more about people like me in the LGBTQIA plus community, please come back next week. Next week, Laura's up to bat. She's going to talk about how she went from conservative mom of two to super LGBTQIA plus
Corporate
ally.
Barbie.
We're also going to start bringing in some of our friends. So, Kelly, Vicki, get ready, because we're going to have a regular roundtable, people that are going to be with us as part of the discussion. And we'll probably do a small piece on some of the gender surgery I've started meeting with doctors about, which is freaking hysterical. So I'm starting to get to that, and we'll definitely see you then. Till next week.